Hey friend, this is Brandon here from This Is Tech Today, and maybe you just got your hands on a Samsung Galaxy S10, an S10 Plus, or an S10e, and you've been looking at a few videos trying to find some tips and tricks for it, but maybe you haven't learned anything new yet. Well, hopefully this video is for you. Here are my top 15 tips, tricks, and hidden advanced features for the Samsung Galaxy S10, S10 Plus, and S10e. This is especially good if you're an iPhone switcher or a novice Android user, and make sure you check out the 15th tip. I've never seen anything like that before. So let me help you out, because this is Tech Today. This video is sponsored by S10e and their Wave Stand Fast Wireless 7.5 Watt Qi Charger. Click the link in the description for more information. Okay, so tip number one may be a little bit intimidating if you're not like a hardcore Android user, but trust me, you're not gonna break anything. This is the first setting that I change every single time I get a new Android device. So you'll wanna go to your settings, hit the little gear icon, go all the way down to the bottom to About Phone, and then click on Software Information. And then you'll see Build Number. Go ahead and tap on that a few times until it says you're a developer, and it'll ask for your PIN. So now that you've activated the developer mode, go ahead and hit back, and then you'll see this developer options at the very bottom. So you'll scroll down to the section called Drawing, and you'll see something that refers to the animation scale. So before we change this, let's take a look at what the animations look like on their default setting. Okay, now we'll go to Window Animation Scale, and I always choose 0.5, go Transition Animation Scale, and Animator Duration Scale. So now let's check out those animations again. It's like way snappier, right? I love this. It makes your phone feel really fast. And if you're concerned about battery life, it does not affect it. Okay, tip number 2 has to do with 2-finger swipe down. So before, when you're swiping down for the settings, you have to swipe down 2 times in order to access the quick toggles. If you use 2 fingers, it goes straight to it. That's it. Tip number 3, let's do the 2-finger swipe down, go to the gear icon, and then we'll go to Display. So there are a few things that we'll want to check out. First is the font size and style, so you can change the font to look smaller if you want to, or if you need text to be a little bit bigger, this is an option to do that. You can even change the specific font that's displayed. There's also the screen zoom, so you can also make everything bigger in general. And then there's the screen resolution, which is really interesting because Samsung defaults the resolution to a lower one than its full capacity. So we'll just choose the max one. And as far as I know, it doesn't really impact battery life a ton. If you have a phone that has the top of the line display panel, why wouldn't you use all of it? This next one is one of my favorites. It's called Night Mode, and it's another name for dark mode. If you click on it, it makes everything darker, and there's a benefit for this in terms of battery life. It'll conserve more battery, especially with an OLED panel. If you have black pixels, it's not turning them on, which means you save battery life. And it's just much easier to read in general. Now, while we're here, when you rotate the phone, by default, the rotation is on. But if you were to lock it so it doesn't rotate, especially if you're checking your phone while you're laying in bed, this is like important to turn off. But if you rotate it, there's this little icon that pops up in the bottom right corner. If you click on it, it'll manually rotate the screen. Rotate back. And there you go. Super convenient. I love this feature. It's something that came up with the latest version of Android. Now, since we're here, let's click on the menu icon in the bottom left corner, and it'll go to your app overview screen. Now, if you click this little icon at the top of the window, you have a few options that show up. One of them is the split screen view. So you can actually go through your other app. So let's choose the Play Store. And then you see how it has a split screen here, and you can just adjust it by hitting this little bar and dragging it. And if you wanted to type something, your keyboard still shows up. This is super helpful, especially if you want to type out an email and you need to look at your notes. And to get out of the split screen view, you just drag down all the way to the bottom, and that's it. So this next one is a lot like the Facebook Messenger pop-up little bubble thing for chat. So if you hit that menu button again at the bottom, and then hit the icon for the app, you'll see this open pop-up view. And it pops up this little window that you can drag around. What's interesting is if you hit this second icon here, it'll minimize it into this little icon that you can drag around, just like the chat heads on Facebook Messenger. And then you just tap on it and it opens it up. So you can drag it anywhere you want, and you can even adjust how translucent that screen is. And then the third one is to maximize it to its normal view. Now again, let's click on that menu button and hit the little icon, And then there's an option to pin this app. This is really helpful. Say if you were to give your phone to a child to play a game and you don't want them to exit the app and mess around with your phone, or you're just letting someone borrow your phone to make a phone call. So while it's pinned, they can't get out of it. So you see how I'm hitting the home button and it's not working? So they're only able to navigate around that particular app. To get out of it, you hold simultaneously both the left and right icons. And it's unpinned, and then you can get out. Now this next one's super simple. It's a fast app switcher. If you double tap really quick on the app switcher, it'll go to your last app. So you can toggle between the two, just with a double tap. Now this 10th tip will help us adjust this navigation bar that we've been using. So if you're in your settings, go to your display, and then go all the way down to navigation bar. So if you're used to something like a Pixel device, this is really helpful. And then for the 11th tip, you can use gestures, but don't use gestures. It's bad. It's weird. So depending on how you have your buttons oriented, you can either have the app overview by swiping up, you can go back by swiping up, or swipe up from the middle to go home. I really don't like this one too much. So good try, Samsung, but this isn't it. I'm gonna turn that off. Let's go back to the settings, and if you go all the way down to advanced features, you'll see an option that says motion and gestures. Click on that, and there's this option called one-handed mode. And there are two different ways to activate this. You can either have it set up so that you hit the home button 3 times, or you swipe up from the edge. So let's check out the gesture real quick. So I swiped up from the edge and it made it into this smaller window that's easier to navigate with one hand. And you can have it alternate sides. And to exit it, you just tap outside of the window. And with the button option, you just tap the home button 3 times in a row. There you go. And once again, you can exit just by tapping outside the window. And there's a bunch of other really cool things that you can do in the motions and gestures. So go ahead and poke around in there. But let's go back and we'll click on Dual Messenger. Now this is super helpful if you have multiple accounts for WhatsApp, Facebook, Telegram, or Messenger, and you don't want to have to log out and log in all the time. It's really clunky. So you can log into 2 different versions of this app and make it really convenient for yourself. All right, let's go back one and go to the top, and there's this one called Bixby Routines. This is really cool. This is when your phone starts to feel super advanced and assist you in things without you having to actively ask it to do it. So you can have certain things ready to go based upon the time of day it is, where you're at, whether you're driving, you're working out, anything like that. This makes it super cool. And you can add your own personal ones on the My Routines screen. So if you choose the home option, you can have it automatically connect to a certain Wi-Fi network. You can have your phone either on vibrate or with the ringer on, a bunch of different things that just naturally happen according to your tastes. And then let's go back one more time. And then all the way at the bottom of this screen, there's a feature that I don't see that often. It's called Send SOS Messages. So click on that. So now this is set up so that if you hit the power button 3 times in a row, it can send a message to certain people. So you pick an emergency contact, and then what will happen is it'll take a picture the moment that you hit that button 3 times. You can also have it record for 5 seconds. So say something crazy is happening, something like out of Taken, you can kind of say something about where you are or what someone looks like in the 5 seconds that it's recording. And then it'll send it out right away to your emergency contact. So those are my favorite tips, tricks, and hidden features. I'm sure there's plenty others I haven't mentioned for this phone because it can do a lot. But if you have some favorite ones, go ahead and leave some comments down below and help everyone else out. And don't forget to join the This Is Tech Today community Discord chat. We'd love to have you there. There's a link in the description. And please share this with others. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching This Is Tech Today, where we talk about the intersection of technology in our everyday lives, in business, and in all things creative. Until next time.